Firstly, thank you very much, Joe, for coming to my show.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure.
So it's an honor for me to introduce you to my audience and tell the work that you are doing to my audience.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here. I was really excited when you reached out. And yeah, it took us a little while to get it scheduled, but I'm so glad we could meet.
So before that, can you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm Joy Apple. I am a Microsoft MVP, and I do a lot of work around modern work strategy. So I've been working with Microsoft products and technologies for over 15 years now. And I think anyone that's in the IT and the tech space, we know that technology has come a long way in a very short 15 years. 15 years ago, I wouldn't have been on a video interview across continents. Um, I'm, you know, 3 time zones away from home. So it's really exciting to be in this space, to be working with people, and to help people and companies figure out how to leverage that and make the most out of it.
So you became Microsoft most valuable professional for 2 times, and you are into Microsoft products from last 15 years. So what is that first thing that you saw when you came into Microsoft products, and now what is the difference?
So I classify myself as an accidental IT professional. I wasn't really planning to go into IT. I was actually in the financial industry, but I've always been attracted to IT and technology and pushing buttons and fun gadgets. And I found myself transitioning out of the financial world and into a help desk position at a technology company because it was just a better vibe for me. And about that same time, a colleague was helping to write the Microsoft book on SharePoint Server 2007. So lost 2007, any old SharePoint people out there, old like me. Um, and it was really intriguing to me to see how this software platform could make business processes better and could help people find the things they need, the information and the resources they needed. I loved it. This person was writing the book. He helped me to ask me to kind of help copy edit it and make sure the English was right and the punctuation was correct. And I was like, okay. And I fell in love with it. So I took that interest and that spark from helping copy edit that book, went back to work and was like, we have SharePoint and we never really used it much, really leveraged it. And I said, turn me loose. Let me see what I can do. And if I break it, I'll fix it. And 2 years later, I was the server admin and was starting to do training because I think IT has a tendency to put things out there, but not always be really awesome about following up and training and engaging with people to make sure they're leveraging it to do what they need it to do. So I started doing that and just really helping people solve problems and fix business issues with the technology. And that's my favorite thing. That's what really got me the most excited to get up and go to work every day, to teach, to help, to assist, and really leverage these tools to make life better.
What made you to work for Microsoft products?
I think once I started down that path and seeing how Microsoft stood behind the tools that they put out there and this continual pace of evolution, it's just, I came in and I found, we talk in the community a lot, that you find your tribe. And I've been very impressed as I've grown into the Microsoft community and how much the community of people is valued, even above and beyond the tools and the products. Jeff Teeper, the godfather of SharePoint, says a lot that it's the best community in technology. And I agree 100%. There's a lot of support for individuals, for learning, for kind of bringing people up. And it's one of the best communities of professionals that I've ever been a part of.
So what you like working in Microsoft products?
I love the innovation. I love the way I'm actually at Microsoft Ignite today in Seattle, the first in-person one since the pandemic, and it's all about looking forward what's coming next. And sometimes they're a little guilty of positioning things many years out. So we know it's not going to be reality this year or next year, but you can see where they're looking and how they're trying to solve tomorrow's problems and next year's problems and 5 years out, address the issues that we see coming and we know are out there continuously within the confines of the community, looking for feedback and interaction and testing and the support of the people that use the tools. So that's what keeps me very engaged. That's what keeps me very passionate about, especially the Microsoft 365 platform.
So how these Microsoft products are helping and supporting human needs and requirements?
So I'm trying to think how far back I want to go. One of my favorite is SharePoint. It's my first IT love. And on social media, I'm joy of SharePoint. It's a fun pun, and it works. I love it. Cool. It's easy for people, easy, right, with the right training and setup and all that. You can have everything your employees need in one spot. You can have search capabilities and metadata tagging and things that make it easy and set up properly for people to get to what they need when they need it. And Microsoft has come in and built on top of that the collaboration tools inside of Microsoft Teams. The Teams is almost 6 years old, but if you think about it, there was a massive uptick in adoption when the pandemic hit. Because a lot of organizations had it, but they haven't leveraged it fully. We all got sent home. VPNs couldn't support every employee being on the VPN all the time, right? So there was this mass adoption of Microsoft Teams to help support people working from wherever they ended up during the pandemic. Sometimes it was hybrid, home or the office. Sometimes it was fully remote, and the tools were able to come in there. And I can't remember the number. It was a crazy high number of features that the Microsoft Teams team pushed out during the pandemic because they were hearing feedback and they saw the need and they knew people were struggling. And that need was met. And they would push things out even maybe before they were ready, but at least it was something to help support people, even if it wasn't perfect, until they could make it better. And just seeing that response and seeing the community come together within the community, virtual events were like wildfire. We couldn't get together in person anymore, but we were together in teams doing summits and collaboration days, and we used to have SharePoint Saturdays. Now they're M365 Friday. And it just, everybody came together with the technology and with the community side to just make things better. And we see that more and more with the diversity, inclusion, and accessibility features. There's a big push for these tools to meet the human need, not just the technical need.
So in your work, I'm sure you'll be working with a lot of professionals from different parts of the world, and you'll be exchanging words and also knowing the user experiences of the Microsoft products. So in this 15 years, what this Microsoft products taught you personally?
Oh gosh. I still work on this every day. I'm still growing. That there's not necessarily one right way, one right process for an individual or a business. There's a group inside of the community called Humans of IT. And I think I've really learned that it's more important to be useful than to be right. To say, okay, this tool, the absolute 100% pure best practice is to set it up absolutely flat, no folders, no this, no that. That doesn't absolutely work all the time for the individuals that need it. So to be flexible and to meet the needs of the person and the people, let the technology support the humans. The humans aren't there to care and feed the technology, right? It's there to make the human life better.
So in your professional career, I can see you worked in multiple companies and in multiple roles and completely different roles. So what do you say about the total experience of yours?
It's interesting to be able to, because I'm a consultant, and like you said, I've worked with many companies in different roles and industries. the people are by and large the same, but the individual needs that come out of it are always very interesting. And I say, as a consultant, you don't end up married to a client or a customer for life, right? People come in, they come out, and they go, but you get to see these common threads, and you get to position your advice and your consulting expertise around what you've seen work in similar situations and similar roles. But it definitely shows, moving in and out of companies and in and out of industries and different clouds, the continuity around kind of that work process. It may be banking, it might be manufacturing, it might be government work, but those common needs are still there. And there's ways to move forward through those challenges inside those individual industries and honoring the regulations and the particular procedures that have to be respected within those confines. If that answered your question.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
And what do you say about you as a most valuable professional?
It was a shock, and we joke inside of the community that when it gets announced, there's all these hashtags on Twitter, humbled and honored. But it really is humbling and honoring to receive the award. There's no checklist out there for, like, these are the things to do to become an MVP. I joke that I got MVP because I like to talk about SharePoint and Teams too much, even when I'm not on the clock, because I'm here on my own time. I speak, I do the social media, and I write blogs because I like to do it. It's my after-hour hobby, which may sound kind of boring and a little too tech nerd for a lot of people, but I love it. And for the Microsoft community and the MVP community to value that and to recognize it, that was a very humbling moment. And of course, then once I opened the box and there was the award in it, I'm sitting there going, oh gosh, if they're going to let me in, they'll let anybody. But it's a great community, a lot of good support out there. And it's just one of those things where I get to know a little bit more of what's going on behind the scenes that better enables me to guide and provide feedback, not just to my customers, but to Microsoft. So it's a great space to be in, and wouldn't trade it for much of anything.
So what is your driving force? What is your motivation, and what is your inspiration to be in technology?
I'm a fixer. If someone comes to me with a problem, I'm going to create a solution to that problem. And I found even when I was in banking work, I liked tracking down the problems and fixing them. And I think on the IT level, when I go into a customer site and they need to migrate an on-prem server into the cloud, or they need to refresh their internet, or they need to load, make this process work better. I love digging into those details and figuring out how to fix their current problems and how to put them on a path, a map that lines up their goals and just makes that business successful using tools. Because a lot of the companies I go into, they're already paying for their Microsoft 365 subscription. They just don't know exactly what to do with it. They still want all this other stuff. And things are everywhere, and they're paying too much money, and content scattered everywhere. So it's like, let's fix that. Save money, make life better for people. Let's fix it. So that's my motivation, and that's my inspiration, is making day-to-day life better, because we spend so much time at work. It shouldn't be frustrating, right? It should be a happy place to be. So alleviating the pain, just making things better for people.
Awesome. So tell me the way you look at technological problems.
The way I look at technology problems,
The way you look at technology problems.
think about that very. Usually the first thing I do with, especially let's say someone's coming to me because they need a new corporate intranet. What they've got, it just doesn't work and they can't find anything and it's clunky and it's ugly and nobody likes it. I usually try to sit down and talk with people in small groups. And the first thing what do you do every day? You as a person, you as an employee, what do you do every day? Oh, I do emails. Okay. Who? Where? Right? It's like investigative journalism. What do you do? Who do you do it with? How do you do it? And then my next question is, what's frustrating? Where's the pain points? Oh, I can't find anything. Okay, in your email or on your intranet? Both. I just can never find anything. So it's like just having a conversation and approaching. I tell people I'm not going to give you a technical interview. I just want to have a conversation and find out how you work, what works well, and what hurts, and then we fix what hurts. And if it's your coworkers are annoying, I can't help you with that. But if the way you have to work with people is annoying, maybe we can fix that. And it's just meeting them where they are and not telling people, oh, well, you're doing it wrong. But say, oh, maybe if we did it this way, it would be better. So I tend to attack those problems from how is it a problem? How is it impacting you? And then come up with a solution that fits with the way that team works, that can work for them and make those problems better. For me.
So you are into Microsoft products from last 15 years. So you saw the evolution of the technology. So how you define the change in development?
Agile. You know, we were in the server days. I got into Twitter because I was a brand new farm admin and running applying patches terrified. So I went on to Twitter and I would watch people tweet about, oh, this is awful, this hurts, this didn't work, this was the worst. And then when they stopped saying that, I'd go put the patches on because obviously everything was fine now. So we would wait and then apply and then wait and wait. And now, I mean, once a week you go into one of the products and there's going to be something different there. There's going to be something new. And for people like me, it's like Christmas every day. There's always something fun and something new. And oh, they changed this. Intimidating. But it's very agile now. It's very responsive. We call it evergreen. It's always growing, always improving, always changing. And more now than ever, Microsoft is looking for the feedback of the people using the product to say, where should we go with this? What do you need it to do for you? What would make this better? And it's just such a great, again, agile environment. It's very dynamic. I find that very exciting.
So how is working with different professionals?
It's great. We all have our own little opinions, our own little niche. Like I'm all about the collaboration, and some of my closest colleagues are more on the Power Platform side, so writing workflows and custom forms and solutions. But we can all come together and kind of feed off of each other's energy. And there's always something new to learn from someone. You know, I can sit down and I think it's a little intimidating when I used to want to be an MVP when I grew up. And now I am one. And that's very exciting, but it's like I tell people all the time that doesn't mean I know more than anybody else. Right? It happened. You can go sit down. I could probably pick any of these lunch tables behind me and go sit down and talk to people, and I would learn something from one of these folks in the community. Whether they're sitting in a back office somewhere just feeding data into the system, or they're a CFO that is driving towards Dynamics 365. There's going to be something to learn from one of these people here because they're in it all the time.
So what made Microsoft to reach every part of the world and solve the problems through its products?
The community definitely helped. I swear we could go through and just count how many times I say the word community today. But seeing the value in it. And I think Microsoft being responsive to the feedback and the needs. Kind of keeping their finger on the pulse. And the footprint of Microsoft is global. There's offices everywhere. When I hop on, whether there's a product champion call or an MVP call, there's people there from all over the world. It might be 8 o'clock in the morning for me. It'll be 10 o'clock at night for somebody else. But we're there and we're talking and we're really striving to make it better and meet those needs across the world. And I think people appreciate that. I think that's seen. Um, you know, back over a decade ago, there's kind of, and I think big companies have this perception anyway that, oh, it's a big company, they don't really care about individuals, it's all about profit. Okay, sure, Microsoft's not non-for-profit, but they're really there to make those tools better to meet the needs because that's where the value is. And I think those business needs translate across countries, across continents. We all have that need to make work work. And I see Microsoft meeting that need.
So, what is working for Microsoft? What are those qualities for Microsoft products which are making work in completely different countries?
There's a lot of effort that goes in, especially to respect like data privacy that each of the countries have and they maintain and respect. Um, like Europe has very strict rules that if you are an employee in Europe, your data stays in Europe, um, and that can happen very smoothly through the magic of Azure. Uh, but there's still that open collaboration anywhere in the world, which is pretty spectacular. And the information is there. Microsoft does a lot to push out the information, the data, and the resources that people need across languages, across different mindsets and ways of learning and ways of comprehension to be able to get to those resources and access the tools and the needs. It's a very diverse product stack that can really facilitate work across borders.
So, what is your contribution as a MVP for 2 times?
I talk a lot. As I say, it's the best job in the world being a consultant because I get to talk to people about stuff. I get to talk to you today. My favorite thing is to speak, to go to conferences, and just to talk to that. Hey, here's this thing that I think you might find helpful. So I get to help people and I get to talk. So that's kind of a win-win for me. It's funny, my background's actually in drama and theater. And when I'm at an event speaking, it's like I'm feeding that old college passion of being on a stage and kind of I become joy of SharePoint. Um, but I do a lot of that, and I try to share information on social media. So if I see something big, then I'm out there tweeting it, share it with people, send links. Um, and I found myself doing some mentoring with folks. Very passionate about women in technology, and I've had women reach out to me on LinkedIn just asking for advice or just a sanity check and things like that. So engaging with people and talking that's kind of my contribution.
So, what you learned talking with computers and talking with human beings?
Oh, talk nice to your machine. I'm just saying, manners always matter. It doesn't matter if it's a computer or if it's a parent, a sibling, or a coworker. Always be polite. Ask nice first. Um, I always joke, like I've seen science fiction movies. I know what happens when the computers take over, and I want them to think I'm nice, and I want them to be on my side. But I think, in a slightly maybe more serious vein, be flexible. I have a friend that he could not stand working in SharePoint because the way he thought it should be done never worked. It's like, well, try to be flexible. Sometimes the machine, it's all binary, right? It's ones and zeros, black and white. It's yes and no. It's if then. Be flexible. We have to be flexible with people too, right? We're a very different type of walking, talking machine. We're much more dynamic than a programmed computer. But we have to be flexible with each other, and I have to meet SharePoint where it is because it's programmed to do certain things a certain way. And I have to meet my coworkers and my fellow humans where they are, and I hope they meet me where I am. So I think there's similarities.
So one particular experience that you cannot forget in this 15 years.
Oh gosh, there's a lot of things flashing through my brain right now. Um, so I might give two or three, but one of the biggest honors I did receive, I went to Joint Base Lewis McChord many years ago, and they were having SharePoint trouble, and just training and talked and helped them work through that. Facilitated some ways that they could work within the confines of the base and the way things were set up, and it made a difference, which was really exciting for me to help that team of men and women uh, make work better, especially for our armed forces. They do a lot for this country, and I got to maybe give a drop back, and they presented me with a challenge coin for the base for that, and that was overwhelming. That was amazing. Just their way of saying thank you to me, I think, went above and beyond what I was able to do for them, and that meant a lot. But then most recently, a colleague, Jay Leask, and I have started doing a workshop. We have two. One is on flat architecture, kind of an architecture nerd, and one is on solving business problems. And each of those workshops, just the comment was that it's going to help them know how to be more successful and to know that there's individuals out there that I've been able to help go back to their desk job and give them a place to start. For me, those are those moments, those little moments like that. Or when I have a customer say, wow, I really hated SharePoint, but now that you've shown me how to work with it, this is great and this is going to make things better. I get the warm fuzzies from that, and I get energized and I'm ready to go conquer the world with SharePoint.
That's great. And you are an expert in understanding Microsoft products, and you're also great in speaking with human beings. So, connectivity between Microsoft products, a network, and the connectivity between human beings. So, if you relate this, what do you say?
It's diversity. Um, one software application can't do everything, right? And that can be kind of intimidating for folks when they go look at what Microsoft 365 is. There's SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams. There's Yammer. Okay, those are all collaboration tools. When do I use what? I mean, I'm a consultant, so I have to say it depends. There's the Power Platform. There's Forms. There's Outlook. There's Chat. There's all these things. But together, it gives organizations a platform to facilitate their business and to work better together. One human being is not enough to accomplish all the things this world needs, right? So we have people that really enjoy talking. And then, like, I have my coworkers that don't ever want to talk to another human being. They'd rather just sit and be quiet, but they build beautiful things and they facilitate great work, right? It takes everybody. There's a great book I read recently called That's What She Said, and it's about when men and women work together, the work product is better than just men or just women could do, because it takes diversity of thought, diversity of experience. It takes different backgrounds and different learning experiences to really make things the way they should be and the way that's going to be best for everybody. And if everybody's not represented, you're not going to have a solution for everyone. So I think there's parity there between humanity and the diversity that we need to really make this world wonderful. And then going back to the nerdy tech side, the diversity of what we need to really make work for the people using the products.
Nice. So Microsoft is talking with human beings with its products. So how Microsoft is thinking?
I only know what I perceive and what I see. I would love to sit down with some of those men and women and really have a chance to pick their brains. I think they, especially now, yeah, a friend of mine and I, we joke about the new normal. It's like there never has been a normal, so how can there be a new normal? But we are trying to figure out how to make what we've experienced, what we've learned from the pandemic years, how to just make it work and make it less stressful and to make it work. And I think that's something Microsoft really has top of mind because the work landscape will likely not go back to what it was. We say pockets, we've got companies that are going, okay, everybody's going to be back in the office all the time. We're all going back to the way it was. You can say that, but then we're also seeing a lot of turnover in those companies because you've got employees going, no. If I was productive and I was a good employee when I had the flexibility of home or office work, why are you now dictating, saying I can't have that flexibility anymore? So I think Microsoft is really stepping in, and we see it with some of their mesh products, the HoloLens, the Azure products and the features and functionality they're rolling out to really help companies adjust to what is now going to be expected by the employees. Not every job can be remote. I'm married to a mechanic. He cannot remotely fix an engine or put a transmission together from, a distance. So some jobs 100% have to be done in person, in the office, whatever that workspace looks like. But I think there's going to be, and there is, in Microsoft's mind, how do we support this new drive for flexibility? And I think part of it is this need to humanize our workforce again. We're not just machines that you're plugging in to a company to make it work. We're humans. We're people. There's a certain amount of respect and dignity, and the tools we use need to enhance that.
Uh, World is constantly changing. There are so many things that are not being same, and I'm sure in this 15 years you saw a lot of difference and change. So how this Microsoft products and Microsoft technology is adapting to the change?
We were just having this conversation with one of the vendors here earlier. It's like tech it's a big wheel, right? You see it spin round and round. Thin clients were a thing decades ago, and then they weren't. And now we're going to the cloud, but we've still got people that we need our data on-prem for whatever reason. And it's the flexibility to do what works best for that organization and to have the visionaries on staff. And I think all of our successful technology companies do this. They have visionaries that are looking at the trend now, learning from the past, and being positioned to see where that trend's likely going to be spinning into 5-10 years, and being flexible enough to go, okay, this is the way today, but that doesn't mean that's what it's going to be expected by society in 10 years or 15 years or 20. So being tuned to what the need is today, but prepared and ready to pivot when that wheel turns and that shift happens. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you. So what made Microsoft to understand the needs of the human needs, and reach non-technical people and use its products?
Microsoft really supports the community, whether that's partners like me and the company that I work for, or the employees of those partners, or the small businesses, the big businesses. They really support us and encourage us. And it's fun, right? You go to a Microsoft 365 conference, and they've got giveaways. Here you can go do skill challenges and get certifications, and there's gamification around it. So they come in and they really support us. And I have to say, it's the kind of support that as an individual, um, it makes me enjoy that product better. It makes me passionate about it. And I know it works. I know it can do the things. So having the support and the encouragement from Microsoft to go share and tell and let's evangelize, the tool. It's almost like a groundswell process. It's really interesting to me the first time people go to a conference, whether it's a Microsoft sponsored conference or one of the free collab days or M365 Friday events, is they look around and they're like, okay, these people really like this. Like they're here not just to learn, but to engage and to support and to grow each other. And I think that's the magic behind our community is Microsoft is going to make corporate decisions, and hopefully they're very smart, great, forward-thinking decisions. But they're always listening to the community for the feedback. Hey, are we on the right track? There's a community feedback portal where anyone can go and say, why does it do this? It should do that. And if enough people vote for it, then the engineers are going, oh, maybe it should do that. And you see it working. And as an MVP on product calls, I hear them talking about the feedback all the time, right? So by them listening and then supporting the community and asking for that feedback and that information, it's a continuous process of improvement.
So, what this technologist in you is telling to your human being?
Ooh, the technologist in me. I analyze things first before I get emotional about it. So it's the solution. I have to apologize to my family for this quite a bit because I have problem XYZ. Okay, when did that problem start? Okay, so what we could do is I immediately go into solutioning. So the technologist in me is always going, okay, here's the problem. How do we fix it? And I think I don't want to say non-technical people. That's not right because there are people that don't need to be fixed. They just need to be heard. So the technologist in me is always wanting to diagnose and fix and troubleshoot. And then the human in me has to go, shh, no, don't solution, just listen. So there's a lot of conversation. There's a lot.
So, this emotion and logic in you, how these two things in you is as a MVP, as a most valuable professional, making you understand the Microsoft products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because empathy is important. It's very important. And I could have a customer come and say, I actually had this happen in a workshop last month. This person was like, I'm so tired of telling the people that call me for help no. And they're always saying, we want to do this. I'm like, no, you can't do that. And there was actually another community member that was auditing the workshop, and he said, don't say no, say yes and. But the answer is no. Most things you can do with technology, but instead of saying no, say yes, I can do that, and I'm going to need a budget of this, and I'm going to need these extra resources, and it's going to take me 5 years, but yes, it could be done, but it's going to take these. So having that empathy first, and that was a moment for me and my co-presenter, we both went, oh, that's brilliant, right? Listen, hear the need, don't shut people down. But also, and this is my human side telling my technologist side, don't start solutioning right out of the box. If I have a customer say, I need to be able to collaborate with people in India. Okay, here's a phone, call them. That's collaboration. Oh, send them an email. That's collaboration. Just use Teams chat, right? I could just solution 3 answers right out of the thin blue sky. But if I don't sit down and really hear them, and find out, when you say collaboration, what do you mean? Oh, you need to work on files together real time. I can't do that with a phone call, right? I've got to have a way to facilitate that need. If I don't listen and I don't take a moment to actually have that conversation, I'll never know that. So empathy, taking the time to sit down and listen and not just go, oh, you need to talk to somebody? Okay, here's an email address. Just send them an email. But ask the question, find out why, have a conversation, and actually solve the problem. Don't just answer the question.
You're working with computers as well as you're working with professionals as a speaker, and you are MVP now, and you're contributing your energies through different mediums and different skills of yours. So, in this 15 years, what is your contribution to this planet in technology?
Ooh, that feels big. That's a big question. Uh, my goal, my overall goal is always just to be helpful and to be useful. But I hope I can leave an impression that you can do that and be kind and to truly listen and not discount anybody. I think sometimes as IT folks, we tend to think we're smarter than everybody else. And we forget that the accountant that's down the hall is really smart at what they do, right? Everybody that we're working with, they have their skill, they have their gift. And we have to listen and facilitate that. So I hope that in my interactions with people, that's kind of, I don't know that that can impact the planet. At least in those small ways, I am helping make a difference for people. And if it's a positive impact in that company, that organization, maybe that positive impact can grow. And just be nice, be kind, but also be useful. That's my goal.
So, you mentioned diversity. So, how this diversity is influencing the technology?
Oh gosh, all over. Um, Inside of the Microsoft communities, we'll talk about the people side of it first. There's groups like there's Women in Teams, and I'm part of that group. But it's not only for women, it's a group to support women in the teens community. It's probably not surprising to anyone that when you look around at tech conference, yep, I'm looking around scanning the room now, it's mostly men. That's great. That's not a problem. Uh, but it's better when that group of people is more diverse because you get the feedback, you get the experience, you get the input, you have a better community, you have a better product. Um, Microsoft hears that and listens. When it comes to not just like gender diversity or race diversity, you think about cognitive diversity. There's a lot of effort going into, let's just say, Teams. So you can have captions on during meetings in Teams. So if you can't really hear it very well, you can read what's going on during the conversation. Uh, for me, I'm dyslexic. So that's actually awful for me. When those words are going across the screen, they're all jumbled up and they're blurry. It becomes a distraction to me because my brain is freaking out that it can't understand what those words are, and I stop hearing the conversation. So I can choose to turn that off so I don't see it. But the people that need it can have it. So they're building in the ability so we have that available. Every one of the sessions that's on the big screens here at Ignite has a person doing the ASL sign language for it. So I may not be able to hear the words at all, but that content is available for the person that needs the signing. They've got a prayer room available, right? So all the different things that I'm seeing here, it's like they are striving to meet the needs of the people that are available, right? It's that human first approach. And it's very exciting to see the transcriptions. They're working to have space in the features to kind of address a variety of those different cognitive I don't know, I might call it a challenge, or we hear the word disability. I don't think it's any of those things. I think it's just the different ways that human beings process data, and they're looking to make strides in making that more accessible for everyone.
So what you understood and what you noticed that most of the professionals that you interact and that you spend time with for the discussions did not notice about Microsoft products.
Mm. I think about that. I think we tend to, in the community, I don't know, this might be too broad of a statement, but sometimes we do tend to focus a little bit more on our preferred areas and not always be open. So the things that we may not know about other products, I would say we're good as a community to being very open to each other. So there's that opportunity to be exposed. Like, if you pop me down inside of Azure, I would not be able to do much. But I have the opportunity every week to interact with the Azure product group and other Azure professionals to be exposed to that. So I can at least know the basics to facilitate conversations and point my customers or clients in the direction of that subject matter expert. Um, so it's hard to pinpoint like one thing that I would say we don't really know about those other products. I will say, as a Microsoft professional, I am ignorant of what's available in the other companies, other software companies out there. Like if someone said, did you know that Apple has a blah, blah, blah? Don't know anything about it. I love my Apple Watch and I love my iPhone, but that's as far as I go. I tend to be very tunnel vision into the Microsoft platform. So that's me. I have a colleague, Sharon Weaver. She's runs a consulting company and is a Microsoft regional director, and she knows a lot about a lot. So she's not as focused as I tend to be on Microsoft. She's got a much broader base of experience.
And what you understood about the connectivity between human and technology.
I would say it's almost symbiotic now. Um, Technology, in my mind, is something that we as human beings create to facilitate life. Facilitate, that's too strong a word. But to support things and make life better, whether it's comfort and convenience. Like, I'm not ready to have an Alexa in my house, but I know a lot of people do and they love it. Cars, that's technology that we use to improve life so we could get to point A and point B very easily. I think as long as we look at it as something that we use responsibly to improve work processes, to improve life, awesome. But I think we do have to, again, be responsible and remember that the technology is there to make life better, not to replace it. Not to be the only way I interact with the world. I still like when I'm at, doesn't happen as much these days, but when I'm on site with a customer, we're having a conversation. Yeah, I like to take my notes in OneNote, but I have found there are times when I just need to close my laptop and I use my Rocketbook and I take my notes in that. So I'm more likely to be making eye contact and building that relationship instead of staring at my computer. Just close the laptop. Be human beings in a room, and then put the focus on the technology to support the human beings around us.
So at last, what do you say to the world who are watching and listening to you from anywhere on this planet about technology and about yourself and what made you to uh, become MVP and as well as being in technology for 15 plus years?
First off, I love the fact that one of the things technology does for us is it makes the world so small, right? I can have this conversation with you. I've got friends that live in England. I've got coworkers that are in Canada. It's truly a small world, and I love that technology helps us reach every area of the planet. As far as from the perspective, use it to make a difference and a positive impact. You know, we do tend to look at the Googles and the Apples and the Microsofts and the Amazons, these big, massive corporations. Yes. And inside of big, massive corporations, there's going to be really great stuff. There's going to be not so great stuff. But at the end of the day, what do we do with that? Where do we take that? How do we use that? Cell phones. It's like cell phones in sports. There's teams. And this is either the best team ever, and that's the worst team ever, or I hate that, and I love that. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what the platform is. It doesn't matter what the sports ball team is. I mean, it might. But do good with it. Enjoy, right? If it's sports, have fun, enjoy, cheer your team on. At the end of the day, the sun rises and sets. Doesn't matter who wins. At the end of the day, is work being enhanced? Are you being supported as a human being? Do you have what you need? Could it be better? How do you make it better? It doesn't matter the platform, right? Facilitate the collaboration, have the conversations, connect as people, whether it's Google or Apple or Microsoft, or pick a product, any product, right? At the end of the day, how are we better for it as humans? And, humans in IT.
And your observation about my work, have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
I have. I love it. Because that's the first thing I did after you reached out. I was like, okay, what do we got? And you see people from, again, all over the world, different industries. In fact, the other day I watched one with a guy that worked with NASA, and I've done some work with NASA too, so that was pretty cool. I love that. You're helping make the world a smaller place, right? Connecting people, having conversations, opening our eyes to, kind of the inside view of these people's thoughts and their processes and their industries. I think it's fantastic. Anything we can do to help us remember that the people we may never meet face to face, they're still just as much people as we are. I think that's fabulous.
And I'm a cloud DevOps engineer. So how this work, talking with experts like you who are from different parts of the world, who worked for technology for a long time, working in different, uh, 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 working with different businesses, how this experience is going to helpful for me in my present job.
I think it opens the door to other opportunities. Just being able to see what's available and see what's out there. I have a customer right now I'm working with. They're SharePoint experts in Vietnam. And he has a whole other job that he does developing cloud-based applications, all that good stuff. So I'm excited to get to work with someone that lives in Vietnam. The schedule is going to be interesting as we figure out what time of day works best for everyone to meet. But it opens the doors to new opportunities to see how other people do it. That drives innovation. For some of the workforce that he's working with, they don't have the most robust connectivity, kind of like me in a convention center. But being able to hear those challenges, to see what they're working with, we're opening the door for that company to use new applications and new technology. Some of those can meet the needs of that low bandwidth experience and make things better for the workforce that's there. So I think, again, it's just that diversity, the experience. I may not think about someone needing to use Teams in the low bandwidth mode because they don't have really great internet. But when I interact with the people that do, that opens the door to drive the innovation on both sides of that call.
So I got you. So can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Absolutely.
Can I also put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yes, that would be great.
I'll share your links in the description of this video on YouTube. People who finds our video on YouTube can see the work that you're doing and the contribution that you are doing to the technology.
Okay, that's exciting.
Can you spell your social media to my podcast listeners?
Yes. Yes.
Can you spell? Can you spell the?
Oh, spell it. I thought you said share it. I was like, yes, I'll share everything. So my social media is at, so I'll say it first, at Joy of SharePoint. So JoyofSharePoint.
So I hope, I wish this video reaches a lot of people, and your contribution and your words will, if it changed one person, you're going to be the reason for their, be the change that happens in their life.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun. You've asked me questions that have me thinking about things that I've never really taken the time to dig deep into and to think about. I have a lot that's going to be processing in the back of my head. I hope we can do this sometime, and I'm thinking we may have to reciprocate, and I'll have you on a webinar sometime if you would like that.
Sure, anytime.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Thank you, Joe, for your valuable time, and keep going, keep inspiring people.
Thank you, and you do the same.
Sure.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.